With the fourth installment on the way, I think it's a good time to look back at the John Wick franchise and see how it got this far. What made people want to watch a dude kill other dudes over and over and over again, just because of a dog?
Wasn't just a puppy.
Plus, with the upcoming plans, why this fourth film might be the most important yet. Comment below why you think John Wick works so well, and your thoughts on the latest film. The first film follows a retired assassin, John Wick, whose wife has just passed. To ensure he isn't lonely, she gives him a dog to take care of, aiding in his grief, until a mobster's son decides to break in, rough up John, and then do the unthinkable: kill the dog. And that's mostly how we've ended up with 4 films. Pretty simple, but I would say the franchise thrives of such simplicity in story, especially the first. Killing an innocent dog was probably the easiest and most genius way for the audience to back John's killing spree. But even with us backing the character, this could have still felt like your average action flick. What set John Wick apart was its great action, through the gone-through work, but also the subtle world building. Former fight choreographers Chad Stahelski and David Leitch ensured longer takes during the action scenes, allowing audience to take in all the badassery Wick had to offer, truly upholding the film as an action spectacle. By the end of the film, I thought it was a nice little closer. Peeps were dead in an interesting fashion, and new dog, a win-win. The film would go on to make 86 million off a 20 million budget, leading us to John Wick 2. John Wick 2 is another great addition. So far it's probably at the bottom of my list, as it felt like the writers were scrambling a bit to get John back into the world. The villain from the first film makes it seem like they had something to do with John getting out, but now in this film, this guy has something to do with it. I also don't get why you're making a marker when you're trying to get out. The film addresses it, but it feels a little desperate. However, this sequel is bigger in every aspect. Bigger world building, bigger action, bigger characters. It's all nicely stepped up. The villain's whatever, but I don't think I've ever really stepped away from a Wick film thinking about the villain. But I will say the story gave the villains more to do, only for them to not do much with it. Now in this film, he's got to carry out a job because of a bloody thumb, and he gets his house burnt up too, because why not? He took his wife and dog, you might as well make him homeless. Wick completes the job, but then gets turned on by the whole of his marker, leading to there being a contract opened on him. Considering the plot of the third film would basically be this again, but all over the world, and with better action scenes in my opinion, I do think the film could have gone a different direction, so it doesn't feel so samey in scale. Now to be fair, this is the film where we get to see what John Wick can do with a pencil. He's like Shakespeare with that thing. The film delivers on a good time and made sure everyone knew the first wasn't a fluke. John Wick was here to stay. I'd seen this one a few times and I greatly enjoy it, but it's mostly the ending that gets me hyped up, especially with what we got. After John Wick 2 made 171 million off a 40 million budget, we were treated to John Wick 3, Parabellum. This film was the shit. From the get-go, we're watching tall Adam Driver get his life ended with a book, and probably the greatest knife throwing scene I've ever seen. Like I said, there being a contract open on Wick means this film can feel like a repeat of 2, but in my opinion, the scenes this time around are more creative and entertaining. John Wick 2 gave us more of the first John Wick film, whilst Parabellum adds to the franchise. My man's assembling guns for one shot, using books, horses, dogs. The film makes sure it's leveling up. The cinematography is also eye-pleasing, carrying over from the second film. The only thing to really fault may be the story itself. I did say John Wick does thrive from a simplicity of plot, especially in the third, but if you're not satisfied by the pure action, then there's not much else to latch onto. But then again, if you're 3 films in and expecting something else, then maybe that's on you. There's also a bit more world building by looking into John's past and by understanding how the high table works. Definitely when it comes to action, this is my personal favourite of the 3, and I've watched it many times as a result. Parabellum would make 327.3 million off a 75 million budget, leading to where we are today. John Wick 4 is either about to drop or has just dropped, and it's looking like they've got another massive hit on their hands, with critics saying it might be one of the best action films of all time. I can't act too surprised. After all those trailers dropped, it feels like the franchise has really come into its own. Of course the action's going to be a hit, but the look of the film is breathtaking as well. Something prior films shared. John Wick continues to take that extra step, which is why I give it so much respect. With modern action films, it kind of feels like you let the CGI guys do the work. Couple explosions and that spectacle box is ticked. The behind the scenes of John Wick show the dedication from the whole crew to deliver that spectacle in a way that we've never seen before, and it's why John Wick has remained at the top where others have failed. There's also a few spin-offs planned for the universe, which I'm open to, but at the same time wary of what they have to offer. There's the film Ballerina with Ana de Armas. Keanu is also going to make an appearance. Then there's the spin-off show based around the Continental, which will be a prequel series based on Winston. Now, after raving about the action in this whole video, you would think I would just want more. But I'm really hesitant on what these shows can bring. Because if they're going to be known for their great action, it could create some fatigue for the Wick franchise, sort of like what we're seeing with the superhero genre now. The breathtaking action was Wick's thing, and whilst that should definitely be present with these two properties, here's hoping they push something else forward. Maybe that's a drama of the show, or a sort of action separate to what the original offered. Here's hoping that in 10 years' time, if the franchise is still around then, it hasn't just become a weak imitation of what started it all, fading into the countless action flicks that have all been forgotten. If you made it this far, thanks for watching the video. Make sure to comment down below your thoughts on John Wick, the franchise, and number 4 itself, and also leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. We've been Overall Nerds, and peace.